Just to mic 1, 2. Can you guys hear the music? Hello, folks. Welcome to another great presentation of the program Ashford, Garley Live on Bridge Radio Africa. First off, as always, Father God, we give you praise, we give you honor, we magnify your name. Blessed be your holy name forever. We give you adoration. Merci pour votre contribution. In the name of Jesus, we have given you thanks. Folks, as always, he has traveled extensively in Europe, America, and parts of Africa. He brings back his talent and expertise via Bridge Radio Africa on the shores of the media space. Some call him the mastermind. Others, doctor of love, the medicine of the microphone, the golden voice of Liberia, Africa's media dobido extraordinaire. The broadcast commissioner, Ashford the Giant, the now you know me Garley. Welcome. At this time to say welcome to Mobile Nelson, McDonald Gaudier, Fred Yampo, Anthony Jala, Jesse Farmer, Meston Boy is also in the building tonight. And we'll also see the Conga, Dick Shadrick. Folks, very shortly we're going to join our guests and panelists tonight. But in the meantime, I'd like to introduce to you Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts, a co-host. Mrs. Roberts, hello and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Mr. Garley. How's the birthday boy? Oh, man.
I'm better than good. To God be the glory.
Awesome, awesome. You know you celebrate into the new year, right?
That's right.
Okay, so your birthday celebration continues to January 1st.
That's right. Is it a coincidence? How come we're wearing almost the same top? You always doing the thing, yo.
Mine is purple. Yours is burgundy.
Okay. That's why I said.
How are you?
That's why I said we're almost wearing the same top. Well, I'm better than
Th-
good.
That's
Oh,
true.
better
That's
than good,
true.
better than most. And to God be the glory. It feels great to be back on. Following a very
Hmm.
festive celebration of my little day.
I see. Yeah, you had a great time. I saw the show. I came in late because I got the notification late. However, you seem to have had a good time. I was just wondering there, I'm sure like many others, when the cake appeared and were like, where did that cake come from?
I know.
And then the drink appeared. I said, oh, the man sweet got hands. So
I know. Yeah.
yes. But again, we want to say thank God for another wonderful birthday, a milestone. So
Hmm.
many people did not make it to 50, let alone 54.
That's
So
right.
in all things, we have to give God the glory.
Amen.
And as we begin our weekend, well, it's only Wednesday, but it's almost Friday. We want to welcome our guests, all those that have tuned in to Bridge Radio Africa. We say good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Bridge Radio Africa with your host, Ashford, the newly birthday boy, the giant Garley.
And we also want to encourage them to share the video. They shouldn't be selfish, that we can do this show and enjoy the show by ourselves. So they need
That's
to
right.
share the video, like Human Troll Crank Out, please share the video. Rose Saw, share the video. Maurice Johnson, we're asking you to share the video as well. Abel Jala, share the video. Call Gloria Volker Mulba, please share the video. Invite more friends so that we can all together have a great time tonight.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Garley. That saved me one step, because as we say, your friends may not be our friend. And sometimes, people stumble on these videos and they're happy that they, found something entertaining and educational. So at this time, we want to say, please share the show, grab your drink of choice, your dessert of choice, or your meal of choice. Make yourselves comfortable as you unwind after a work day or whatever you did today. I am your co host, Letty Brooks Roberts.
You,
We
you,
have few house rules for you tonight. Go ahead, Mr.
no, no,
Garley.
go ahead. After that, and I will come in.
Okay. We ask that you please be respectful of each other. We also ask that you be respectful of our host. Most importantly, please be respectful of our guests. What you write is just as important as what you say. So what you write should be as tasteful as what you would say to someone. Thank you for being cooperative. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate you coming on to be with us. Thank you for celebrating our host, Ashford Garley, for his natal day yesterday.
Yeah.
Every every dirty water, any dirty water can put out fire, he says. So we say thank you. Make yourselves comfortable as we present the show to you. Back to you, Mr. Garley.
And I want to take this time to say a big thank you to our many fans, uh, friends, relatives, and of course, loved ones who took time out yesterday to wish me happy birthday. Some did in text messages, some did on Facebook, some did in cash and in kind. And I just want to sincerely say thank you for for what you did for me yesterday. Thank you so much. And I want to say thanks to my son, Ashford Garley Jr. He just melted my heart yesterday. And I want to say thanks to a very special friend, Miss Blade Yinkan Nadi. Thank you so much for, just showing us some appreciation and love here on British Radio on our little day. With that said, when you start a new job, no matter how qualified you are or how
Mhm.
first you are in terms of that profession, there's something called the orientation of the internship and stuff like that. So next Thursday, there'll be a new program on British Radio called the James Coyne show. And tonight, James going to be playing. uh, giving him starting his debut as one of the co-hosts. Because
Mhm.
next week he's going to be starting his own show, so we're going to give him a little bit of orientation about this. So tonight he appears as one of the co-hosts as we wait. Look forward to seeing our panelists tonight. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. James Cohen. Mr. Cohen, hello, and welcome to the show, my man. I can't hear you. You got to unmute your microphone, please.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm still on some orientation, so I got to get used to unmuting my microphone. Thank you, Ashford. It's a pleasure being here. I hope my training goes well.
Okay. Well, again, folks, if you're just joining, welcome to the show. I'd like to say hi to Mr. Emmanuel Decola. My name is not Garley, Mr. Decola. Garley, that's a foreign name. My name is Garley, Gar. Now with a U, AR. You know, that name comes from Dorchtown, Kunimo District, Grand Juda County. It's Garley, not Garley. Okay, I see Philip Paswa is also in the building. Jansen Dodo is in the building as well. And at this time, folks, tonight we are going to be talking about the electoral process and how it has been delayed. That's the topic for the night. We will have a few panelists coming on. Uh, I know some are running late, but we have one of them on now. The Reverend Idatus Added is on, and we'd like to welcome him to the show. Miss the Reverend Added, hello and welcome.
Hello, Mr. Garley. Happy belated birthday again. Bless God for you. Compliments of the season to many of our avid, dedicated listeners to this highly esteemed program. Greetings to all of you wonderful panelists.
Thank you. Good evening.
Okay. Well, Reverend Added, you have appeared quite a few times on this platform, and you know this platform continues to attract a lot of new followers and new viewers. So, for the sake of the audience, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm currently the pastor of Agape International Outreach Ministries, located in Collindale, Pennsylvania, 212 McDade Boulevard. Services are usually held at 11:30 every Sunday. I have a background in political science with emphasis in international relations and conflict resolution. I'm also currently a psychotherapist, clinical master's in social work. So I've had experiences working with the United Nations as a consultant with the UNFAO and the UNHCR. I've worked with the local government as an intern in Chester at my college. I'm also a Frederick Douglass Scholar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. That was the Reverend Idatus Added, uh, making his presence felt tonight here at Bridge Radio Africa. Well, we're going to jump straight into this. Okay. And let me begin the question by asking the Reverend uh, Idatus added. What the Reverend added, the postponement of key election dates has raised some concerns across political parties. Do we foresee crisis?
Well, potentially there could be crisis if the government doesn't manage this process properly. Opposition may raise concerns as far as the census concerned, the postponement of the registration dates, for the parties. So yes, potentially crisis could erupt on the basis of inconsistency or fraud. So I believe government ought to be very cautious as they are making these different adjustments that will not disenfranchise political parties from being able to have enough time to make the requisite deadline.
James?
Yeah, Reverend Ali, we have, thanks again and welcome to the show. As of today, there are 286 days to Elections Day, October 10th, 2023. Registration of voters has been scheduled for March 20th, 2023 to May 11th, 2023. Do you see the Elections Commission keeping these dates?
Well, I mean, one can only prognosticate that potentially they may keep the date or they may not keep the date due to any issues pertaining to logistics. But it is my hope that they will keep the date so that this ongoing postponement do not happen as often as it is now, that may potentially cause problems or raise eyebrows in the eyes of the opposition. So personally, I think they will keep the date because election is not far away. So it is my hope that they do keep the dates.
So if you look back at the history of our Liberian political climate, there are too many uncertainties. I hear you talk about the opposition, what they will do, or they will raise alarm. Over the last couple of months, there have been so many mishaps from the Election Commission. There have been little voice from the opposition on tackling these issues. The issue of the census, issue of the abrupt cancellation of voter registration. Uh, what do you make of these issues? Is the opposition
Well,
prepared to withstand the tension?
well, I think the opposition is being very mature, giving the benefit. I mean, giving the government the benefits of the doubt, and therefore it shouldn't be exploited by the government. So the fact that they aren't speaking up or being vocal about it right now does not mean that they're weak. I think it's incumbent upon the government to ensure that all of these postponements do not continue to happen. That may lead to a degeneration in in these elections that are pending.
Okay, folks, if you just joined, this is Ashford Got It Live, and of course we have a special guest co-host who is in training, and you can tell that the man is ready for the task. So next Thursday, James Cohen will begin his own session here on Bridge Radio Africa, and we encourage all of you with talents and expertise to come. We have 7 days in a week. 24 hours in a day. We'll be looking forward to seeing you. Have a program, proposal program idea. British Radio Africa will be here to help you out. And back to reality. Well, Reverend Adi, the U.S. government is funding the 2023 presidential and general elections in Liberia. The same U.S. government sanctioned 3 former Liberian government officials for corruption and warned that anyone doing business with these individuals will also face similar fate of the U.S. government. 2 of the sanctioned officials are running for office. Should the National Election Commission do business with these individuals by certifying them as candidates? Reverend Adi.
So let's be very clear. The U.S. foreign policy is also domestic. That's the foreign policy on their end. So yes, nobody should do business with them in the context of sabotaging the U.S. economy. But our Constitution doesn't deny those individuals who have been sanctioned as a result of U.S. foreign policy from participating in our elections. They've not been convicted in any court of law. The president has not acted as he promised he would do to, be able to process those charges through our courts. So I think under the Constitution, they deserve the right to run. But at what peril as a nation state remains the problem. But yes, I believe that they can run because they haven't been convicted in any court of law. But at the same time, will they be able to travel to these United States or be able to transact business in the interest of the country? No, given the fact that America is a superpower.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll bring in the Mrs. Edith Gonglo, where we just joined us. I will pose the same question to you. First of all, welcome, Madam, to the show.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, the U.S. government is funding the 2023 presidential and general elections in Liberia. The same government sanctioned 3 former Liberian government officials for corruption and warned that anyone doing business with these individuals will also face similar fate of the U.S. government. Now, 2 of the sanctioned officials are running for office. Now, should NEC do business with these individuals by giving a certificate to run for office?
First, let me say hello to everyone again. Sorry for being late. I had a duty to perform, and so that's why I'm late tonight. But I'm sorry for being late. Having said that, the issue of people being sanctioned by these United States of America and wanting to contest in Liberia, especially in an election that is being partly sponsored, if not even by 50%, but substantially sponsored by the United States, is a little troubling. And the reason is the sanction letter was clear. It stated that nobody should be doing business with these individuals. Anyone caught doing business with them, I'm not quoting it right, but could be doing that at their own risk. If the United States that is sponsoring or funding our elections has stated and warned people from doing business with certain individuals, if the Elections Commission certifies these people to run, is considered doing business with the individuals who you've been warned not to do business with, especially so using United States money. I don't know how the United States is going to take that, whether it is going to hamper the funding process, because mind you, whatever money the United States give out to these countries on a bilateral basis, these monies are taxpayers' dollars. They are tax dollars. And so if you declare somebody a criminal, would you want to fund that person who you declare as criminal? I'm just looking at it logically. I think it's going to be problematic for the Elections Commission and the government of the Republic of Liberia. And then I heard you talk about 3 individuals. Mind you, the United States government has sanctioned 5 individuals, 5 officials of government in this government. The first that was sanctioned were Vani Sherman. Senator Sherman was sanctioned. Senator Johnson was sanctioned. And then the last 3 followed. And we started hearing that most sanctions were on its way to come. And so we don't know. The ball is squarely in the court of the government and also in the court of the United States, State Department or the Department of Treasury.
Mrs. Well, let me just come here.
Hold on, James. I want to bring in Idatus because his comment was a lot more different from Mrs. Ware. I want you to come in, and then following that, you can jump in. Idatus.
So what I basically stated was this, right? The U.S. government has their own foreign policy, and they've come up to say, listen, these people pose risk to our country called USA. And so they've told the Liberian government that these individuals, we will no longer do business with them because of their economic risk to our economy. That's their foreign policy. So what has been imposed on Liberia now, which the president acted upon by dismissing these individuals, but these people have not been convicted in any court of law or indicted and convicted in any court of law. So I can certainly understand the moral political argument that should these people be certificated to run, the potential risk towards the Liberian government. But to say that they should be denied under the Constitution to participate in these elections, they have not been convicted in any court of law. This is where now the president of Liberia, George Manawia, should be able to process these charges through courts and see whether or not these people can experience the due process and thereby deny them from participating in elections. But he hasn't done that, which is fundamentally a problem. The U.S. ambassador stated that you guys have been asking me for proof. Go and look at your LACC report. You'll find the proof there. So it is incumbent upon the president now to act upon those recommendations of the United States government to be able to fast forward these individuals for due process. He hasn't done that, which is a problem.
Okay, we'll bring in Jen, but just before that, Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts, most of the viewers have some questions as well. So if you would do us a favor, jot down those questions, and then as the program progresses, we will call you in to read out the questions for our panelists to respond to them. Mr. Cohen.
My question to the two guests is, are these guys in any way in violation of the laws as practiced in the jurisdiction of Liberia? I mean, I know they've not been found guilty, not gone to court, but based on what the sanction documentation said, are they in violation of any laws in Liberia that would bar them from participating in elections?
This way, you want to go first?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
By our jurisprudence, you have to go through the due process, which means that there is a complainant and then there is a defendant, and both have to go before the court and make their case. Whoever is found guilty by the juris system of our country, then that person can be penalized according to the law of the land. As Idatu said rightly, the ball is in the court of the President of the Republic of Liberia. The United States government has done its part. They've done what they've done to other countries and other individuals of different countries. It is now left with the Liberian government, because the crime that was allegedly committed, it was not squarely committed against the United States of America. Part of the problems that were listed, the accusation was made against these individuals based on their duties performed in Liberia, how these duties were performed, how the corrupt acts, transpired. It is left with the government, the president, to now take further action. The government has gone ahead and suspended or dismissed, but to the best of my knowledge, I think it was suspension. And the president also said that these individuals were going to be investigated. The president's word is public policy to a large extent. So the citizens must be able to trust what their leaders tell them. So maybe the president still needs time to make decision as to when that prosecution will be done. But as it is, they've not been convicted in Liberia. So to your question, since they have not been convicted in a court of law in the Republic of Liberia, I guess your question is, should the Elections Commission deny them? Will that not be infringing on their constitutional right to participate? Again, that is left to the lawyers and to the court to decide. And also in a court of public opinion, because the court of public opinion can be very strong, so it depends what the Liberian people in general also say about that. I remember in that letter, the State Department, I think a line in that letter stated that this is an opportunity for Liberians to act. So what that opportunity to act meant, whether it meant for the government to take further prosecutorial action, or whether it meant for the public to, hold the government accountable to act, is left with us to interpret what that meant. And as it is right now, it has gone cold.
Thank you. Idatus?
Yes. So the question is, are they guilty of any law in Liberia?
No, I didn't say if they were guilty. I said, based on the sanction document, are they in violation of any of our laws practiced in our jurisprudence in Liberia? Are they in violation to be prosecuted based on what the sanction document said?
So yes, quite frankly, if they were not in violation, then the president would not have suspended them. That's number one. So the president had probable cause to suspend them pending investigation, but he hasn't furthered this investigation. His word is his bond. He has not told us. So yes, they are in violation. The LACC document, the evidence is there. They are in violation. execution of the law, which is the responsibility of the executive branch of government, has not yet been done. So the president needs to act and act now, sooner than later, because bringing these people into government could have future problems in terms of government's funding by the USA and so forth and so on. Nobody knows what America may do because of our, decision to have them participate in elections, which of course they aren't barred by the Constitution to do so. But the president needs to act and act now for the greater good of the country. So yes, they are in violation of the law until they can be exonerated. They are innocent rather until proven guilty. So the very fact that the president suspended them is indicative that there is a crisis, a legal crisis in that area. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure Cohen will have a follow-up question, but just before he does that, we want to introduce Asif Tuba to the discussion, and you can please re-ask your question, and we can begin with Mr. Tupac. Then we'll work our way around the room with the next set of questions.
Okay, so welcome, Mr. Isaac Vatupa. So I was asking our panelists, the U.S. government sanctioned 3 of our officials. 2 of those officials are today participating or are intending to participate in the elections in Liberia. My question is, are they in violation of any law that will preclude them from participating in elections? Should they be allowed to participate? And part 2 to my question is, when donors give you money, most times they tell you how to spend that money, on what you can spend and what you cannot spend it on. If the Elections Commission qualifies these candidates, do you think the U.S. government can further withhold additional funding to the elections, or, would the Election Commission be in violation of those funding restrictions, if any?
James, you're a smart man. Are you asking these questions just for the show, or are you really, really asking them? Because I know you know the answers to those things.
I want your view so that our viewers can also learn from what you're going to tell them.
My view, yeah, definitely those laws are. Our entire legal code is kind of patented after the United States government's code. Those guys were in violation of everything we stand for, basically. So yes, with regard to your second question, in terms of them withholding funds, yes, this government has been known to misuse donors' funds and misappropriate and everything else is known. And if they feel like the election's not going in a direction, that they wanted to go in terms of how it's being organized, how it's being planned, they could withhold funds and say it's a waste of money. That's possible, and we see it happening. We see there have been some withholding of in certain areas, the kind of support that's expected because they don't expect government to manage their funds as they want it to be. So it's unfortunate.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Avad.
But I just want to say hello to your listening audience. It's good to be back here. Mrs. Gonglo, how are you? I hope all is well, gentlemen. Nice to be here in your midst.
Okay. This time I want Mrs. Edith Gonglo to begin, and then Idatus can follow back on. Then we'll go to Asik. What the Vice President of Liberia and others have said, that the U.S. sanctions have nothing to do with the laws of Liberia. If that's the case, why did the president suspend 3 officials, and why did they resign if the U.S. sanctions have nothing to do with Liberia? Mrs. Ware.
Quite honestly, Ashford, I didn't expect to be discussing this tonight. I must be, honest with you. I thought that we're going to be discussing strictly the elections, the electoral process, giving the timeline and the delays and all of that. But I will do my best because I didn't come with that frame of mind to discuss sanction. Your question about the VP statement, and I think we're just going in the same, direction. All of what we've said in the previous question. If the sanction had nothing to do with the Republic of Liberia, then why did the president of the Republic of Liberia suspend these people on the findings of the United States government and on the sanctions imposed by the United States government. So to me, it's a non-issue. I think the vice president was just being political. Sometimes people in political positions give political answers based on what they think their base is thinking. But it's a contradiction for the vice president to say the sanction has nothing to do with her government, of which the president that is the head of that government has already acted. So I don't see that as, I see that as a sharp contradiction, which I don't think makes the government looks good.
Idatus?
Well, quite frankly, that statement was merely political because she is an avid participant of sanctions. She knows what sanction is. So if she has not experienced sanction, then I personally have yet to understand what she was saying. Mrs. Howard, Mrs. Taylor knows very well that her husband's government was put on sanction, and she knows what that meant. So for anyone to make a statement that sanction has nothing to do with Liberia, it's a purely political statement, not worthy of any dignity of discussion.
Ava?
Yeah, it's right. What I can do, so if that coming from us, let it come from other people. Let people see what the charges are that the folks are talking about. Because if some of us say it, then people will say, "Oh, they're just talking." It's not us, right? I think you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
And if you follow it, they say they are for the involvement in ongoing public corruption. They didn't say previous, ongoing. Essentially, they're saying that they are still doing it. Their corruption have undermined democracy in Liberia for their personal benefit. So let's look at just one or two. McGill. What did they sanction McGill for that she would say it doesn't involve us in Liberia? Isn't it procurement? McGill manipulated public procurement processes to award multi-million-dollar contracts to companies in which he has ownership. So you think the people didn't determine the ownership of these companies? They would just jump in and their investigative capability. You think they would just fraudulently jump on McGill and say something? CFOS received bribes from people in exchange for having their court cases dropped. We know that. We have been saying that. And he has also shielded money launderers and helped clear them through the court system. We know that for a fact. Look at the case with Ellen Cochran. She herself said it. CFOS supported her to get out of the issue. She was corrupt. She committed crimes in Liberia, and he allowed her to escape. What Bill Traore did, orchestrated the diversion of 1.5 million investor storage fee funds from the NPA into a private account and form a private company to which he later unilaterally awarded a contract for loading and unloading cargo at the port of Buchanan. It's in a line that we had information on all those things before. They're being in the press, they're being in the public space. So, people can feel innocence or ignorance about these things. The fact is they are there. They violated our laws. All of these things are actions that they did in Liberia. Not the Charles Taylor case where he supposedly did something in Sierra Leone. No, these are acts directly in Liberia, directly undermining our democracy. And so for the vice president to say that, it's just typical of the lies that we hear from this government on most issues. It's not strange.
Okay, we're bringing a James, but just before that, we want to introduce a colleague who has a platform as well. The name is Bala Keman. Mr. Keman, hello and welcome to the show.
Hello. Apologize for being late.
What's up, man?
Pretty good.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Keman. Mr. Cohen.
How about you can a little bit later, like you said. I want to piggyback on the question we asked. I want to take you back to the electoral process. As of today's date, we have 286 days to elections on October 10th. Your organization,
285.
well, yeah, 285, 286. Your organization is a major stakeholder in the electoral political process. The Elections Commission has postponed a couple of times the voter registration. There were flawed processes with the census, and all of the processes lead to elections. I heard someone said elections are not rigged in election day itself, but the processes lead to elections. Tell me, is your organization prepared? Um, do you see the voter registration date being feasible? Do you think the election commission will live up to the timetable? I asked the question to other colleagues earlier, but I want to ask you for your opinion since you are a major stakeholder in this process.
I have no confidence in the National Elections Commission. I'm sorry. They just have not performed. They have not kept their word. They just make decisions that are just not in the best interest of the country when it comes to elections. These are very sensitive elections. And in the minds of the people out there, the actions are just leading towards a rig or, how should I say, an incomplete election process, right? So why can they lay out the full calendar of this election? There has to be a line with the census process. We have seen the census process is a whole mess and debacle. We've seen it. We've seen the corruption in it. We've seen the corruption even in the next own procurement process. First with ECAM, then with now Laxton. The next, I don't know if they understand what they're trying to do, or they have some, corruption issues in there, which most people suspect. For today, after awarding the contract, where it was clearly specified in the requirements that they will use rugged tablets, that they will pre-fund certain things. There's a third issue that Laxton is now claiming that they can't do, and they're demanding that the NEC put in $12 million in escrow before they can operate. To me, it's a fix, it's a gain. And I think the NEC is a part of that gain. Because if this contractor did not have somebody significant in government to push that agenda that they're pushing today, how dare them even do it? How dare them sign on to an agreement or put in a bid that complies with those requirements and then can tell NEC today it makes no sense to use computer? Nah, man, come on. So, I think the entire system of procurement around NEC, the activities, the agenda is bedridden with flaws, with sense of the potential to cheat and undermine the stability of our country. And I have no confidence that they can do what they are promising to do. Even the timeline that they have not given, I believe, March to mid-May, March 20th to mid-May. Can they even really comply with that? I mean, they're starting a process that they have no idea about in terms of the biometric voter registration. The first thing in terms of the biometric process, they are not supposed to handle identification. That's for the National Identification Registry to handle. And then they can get access to that information to register people. But they're not in the business of identification. That's not their business. And it's in our law that the National Identification Registry has the mandate to do all this different identification and be like a service department or agency for all those other people who need it, whether it's passport, whether it's NASCOP or social security number, whether it's any other form of identification that's needed. So I don't know why our government cannot do the right thing by the people of Liberia for us to have peace as we move through these processes. But I have no confidence in it.
Okay, listen, let us go to Bala with the same question. Because Bala has a soft spot in his heart for this government. And then after Bala, we will go to Letty Brooks Roberts, and I'm pretty sure she has some questions from the viewers, and then we'll work our way around the Bala.
Yes, sir. All right. Once again, I want to apologize to the panelists and the viewers for being late. If you don't mind, just a little quick reiteration of that question. And so I can indulge.
James.
So I was asking our panelists and welcome to the show. I was asking in the face of all of these small hitches we have here and there, do you see the Elections Commission meeting with the deadline for all the timetable set for voter registration with the debacle we had with the census. They've changed the date for voter registration, I think twice, and we're now on the final date. Do you see them meeting these deadlines?
Well, to answer your question in a rather indirect fashion, I would say, we can all speculate right now. There's a lot of speculations going on. My brother Isaac, as he spoke, I listened to him, and his statements were riddled with, presumptions. He says things like, I think, I don't believe. And those are all, subjective, ways to approach certain kinds of conversation. I think. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Don't interrupt.
I'm asking the host, or it will come back to me. Do we do point of correction, or
yeah? I mean, let him blend. Then we're going to come back to you for a reaction.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, and so look, I'm not here to toot the horn of the government or to be very ill-advised in what I'm about to say as it relates to there are potentials for errors, okay, in the system. But what I would wager to us is, let's wait and see how the process plays out. I don't want to sit here and say, do I feel like the timelines are going to be met very, very effectively and all that stuff. I would say let's maximize restraint. Let's see how the process plays out. This is the government trying to work this thing out. Look, it's understandable that people are going to have their reservations, their fears, for lack of better description, for the betterment of Liberia. Let's maximize restraint in this process and see how it plays out. And look, I know that the timeline has been postponed twice, okay? But let's see how this all plays out, because we don't know what the real issues that the government is faced with right now, right? So let's see how the process.
Hold on. You don't know the real issues.
Absolutely, we don't.
Isn't it their responsibility to tell us what the real issues are? Should we allow them to
I mean,
time frame without letting us know?
But we also can assume that they're not doing the best they can to try to remedy this issue. The way we seek for it to be handled is probably not how it's going, and that's understandable. But look, this is the government; they have their own style of governance. Let them go about the governance as they see fitting. And I understand that the citizenry wants to know what's going on, wants to have answers, wants to have understanding. But but as a Liberian, I'm just saying to us folks, let's maximize restraint. Let's not begin to speculate and try to put fears, like the ill-advised fears in the minds of the people by saying we think the election is going to be rigged, there's going to be problems. That's not what we want to do. We saw Donald Trump do that here in America. We don't want to repeat the same process. So I would wager to us, as panelists, as Liberians, as well-meaning Liberians, let's maximize restraint. If there is any country on this God's green earth that has to adopt the principle of maximizing restraint, Liberia will be the supreme culprit of every country on earth. So let's maximize restraint. Let's wait it out. Let's see what happens. We have a few more months after that. We will have a lot of time to talk, a lot of time to speculate and all that. But for a gullible population as Liberians are, unfortunately, we will all admit that we are a very gullible group of people right now. We came from war, still to a large extent traumatized. Let's maximize restraint. Let's not begin to just spread, ill-advised, unnecessary fears in the minds of our very gullible population. Most of us know what we're doing, and that's not right. So let's maximize restraint. Let the process plays out. Let the government do what she says she's going to do. And when we start to see issues, then we can get to that point. But I think we should be a little more responsible about how we go about these kinds of conversations, because the people look up to us.
Thank you. Alva, you want to weigh in? You say you had a point of correction?
No, I can get.
I also need to weigh in on that.
Yeah, after Alva, you're gonna come in.
No, Edith can go. Edith can go.
All right, go ahead, Edith.
Okay. To tell you the truth, you saw me shaking my head. I am so shocked and ashamed of what our brother had just said on this show. What maximizing restraint are you talking about? Election is a process. It is not an event. If you see, I have in my hand a sheet of paper here that has the election timetable that was released sometime this year. It should have started from August 31st to October 15th. There should have been publication of voters registration regulations. And then September 8th to December 22nd, they should have had the validation of administrative units and amalgamated areas listing boundaries. This would tell us the constituency demarcation and all of that. And then by October 7th, they should have had the official launch of civic voter education and voter registration. So what are you talking about? Everything is already delayed. And I think it's intentional. It is intentional. Elections are not rigged. Elections are not rigged on the day of elections. It is intentional. These delays are intentional. They have a playbook that they are using. They've done this in by-elections and they've succeeded before. My thing is, this is something that should concern every Liberian, whether you like politics or you don't like politics. This is playing with the lives of people. Every conflict in Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa, have got their strongest root in malpractices in elections. Election alone accounts for more than 75% of the conflicts in Africa. And Liberia, just like you said, to borrow your words, you said it right, except that for the wrong reason. Liberia should be the last place where any government plays with election.
That's not what I said.
We've been burned. No, I'm saying that.
Oh, okay.
I am saying that. You are saying Liberia should be the last place where people can exercise restraint. I am saying Liberia should be the last place where people should even exercise restraint when it comes to messing with our electoral process.
Well, I'm sorry. So what are you saying?
All of our problems historically has been caused by electoral fraud.
I'm a little confused.
1955 to 1990, we've been burned. We've lost over 300,000 of our citizens, millions and millions of dollars worth of property. We now have a lost generation because somebody did not take our election process seriously.
Thank you.
And I see that this government is playing with the election. They have money to do other things, but this is where political will comes in. Where is the political will of this government to do what is right by the people?
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I get emotional because this is really a serious problem. We are running into constitutional crisis already.
Thank you. That's true. We are going to take a program announcement break. This is Ashford Garley live on Bridge Radio Africa. We are discussing tonight the Liberian electoral process, what the Election Commission is able to meet with their deadlines, and some of the issues that we are having in these elections. Our panelists tonight: Reverend Idatus Ade, a political scientist, a Reverend, Mr. Alva Tugba, a member of the ANC, former Chief of Office Staff of Alexander Cummings, and of course, former Superintendent and political guru, Madam Edith Gonglo, of Nimba County. We also have a talk show host, Mr. Bala, who is also here with us. Your host tonight is Mr. Ashford Garley, and I'm your co-host. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we're just taking a short break. We're still discussing this major issue. I will allow Mr. The Reverend Idatus Ade to come in if he has any question. If not, we'll go back to Mr. Ashford Garley.
Isaac was supposed to speak after Mrs. Ware to address the brother's comments.
He yielded to Mrs. Ware, so I'll give you the floor. We'll come back to him.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't say I was concerned, but go ahead. You got time. I can always come to it.
Excellent. When I listen to my friend and brother speak about exercising restraints, I just want to remind him that the stability of our peace in Liberia is not only the responsibility of the opposition, but the government as well. And elections are not things you play with. The consistent postponement are indicative of a potential political crisis that is very, very serious to the stability of our country. So because oppositions aren't as forceful, pressuring, they must not be taken for granted. The peace and stability of this country, Liberia, is the responsibility of George Weah and his government. Elections are no joke. President Weah and his government. Elections are no joke. So let it be very clear. These are the things that lead up to electoral violence, and then opposition gets blamed because they stand up for their rights. Okay, the government, as it is now, has the responsibility to inform the public. You accuse Mr. Topa of speculation, but you also came with your own speculation. Most of what you said was speculation. Maybe they're going through this, maybe they're going through that, but you are accusing Mr. Topa of speculation. Arrest.
Ava?
Yeah, I think, when people don't understand stuff, like obviously Mr. Bala doesn't or haven't been exposed to the election process, he should just be quiet in his corner. He got no gravitas to come here and talk about stuff he doesn't understand or know. I gave my thought on the future of this thing. I didn't think I provided facts on the current situation. And I think you referenced the debacle at NEC. The fact is, she presented that, and I can show you on the screen right now a comparison of the next schedule and where they have fallen so far behind. So for you to think that somebody is speculating here, no, we don't speculate. We provide facts. So try and come with an understanding and knowledge. Don't come unprepared and just talk off the top of your head, because we'll cut you down to size and show you the dates that NET put out there, the dates that we are proposing, which makes sense. Some of the other activities that they don't even include in the schedule, but they are dependent on those things happening, like the redistricting of the different districts based on the population census. Those are issues that are critical to the next schedule. And if they are not inclusive of those, exactly the census that being messed with, we are hearing now the population in Grand Cru now double. I hate to say that will really impact election. People running away from Grand Cru. You will tell me, say the numbers double over there. So look, young man, these things are very critical to our future, especially the future of those other young people who like you. With you, you probably said you're not worried. With me, I'm not worried. But there are a significant number of young people out there whose future are in abeyance, is hanging. They don't know what direction they're going. And these elections have to be peaceful for them. These elections have to be taken very seriously as the future of our country. The census is for 10 years.
Thank you.
It's not a short time thing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's time for it. Yeah.
I will bring in Mr. Bala to respond. Then we'll go to those rabbits. Mr. Bala.
Thank you. All right. First of all, Mr. Isaac, I want to thank you. Nice try. That's what I would tell you. You've allowed yourself to be under the illusion that you possess a monopoly on common sense, which is a very bad thing for someone who accuses himself of being a senior. What I will tell you is this: when I say maximize restraint, and I've already deduced now that you and my wonderful sister, Miss Edith Gonglaware, and the Reverend, you guys are pretty much more on the side of the opposition. So let's just approach it this way. What you guys are doing on a perpetual basis, and it's been exposed by me and a lot of common sense thinking Liberians like myself, is this: you're fear mongering. You're trying to delude the population of Liberia to follow that same nonsense that's been done all of these decades in Liberia that caused us to be exactly where we are today. You're fear mongering. You're trying to play on the minds of the gullible Liberian population. All I said here was maximize restraint. I didn't come like you to try to lecture the public, the Liberian people, about how elections work. Since you possess the knowledge on elections, good for you, my big brother. But you're missing the point. What I said, and I'll repeat, maximize restraint. You are talking about there's a potential for violence. The only group of people out here preaching that are the opposition. What is your secret? What's your plan? Let us know. How do you know that there is going to be violence?
You're missing the
No. Don't come here. You have the chance. You have the chance. You're going to have to be able to maximize restraint, like I said, and let's have a discourse, because you're trying to lecture me, but you can't even do that. What I'll tell you is, folks, we have to be patient. Liberia is a country that is still in the darkness of the dark part of history. We as young people are starting to get involved. And what we're saying here is this: look, What you're saying is not wrong. There are reasons to be concerned if we're changing the dates for elections. Those are legitimate points you are making. But when you come to these kinds of conversation, try to fend off the temptation of trying to accuse yourself of being a genius by telling people you know nothing about this. I said something that any common sense person would say. Maximize restraint. Stop fear mongering. Stop speculating. You are saying that this is going to happen. That's going to happen. What I'm saying is we don't know yet what's going to happen. Let's allow the process to play out. The government possesses the constitutional right to be able to push, activities as it relates to elections around the election time. There is nothing illegal about that or unconstitutional about that. You should probably educate yourself on that. Before you sit there and try to educate someone about what the rules and how elections work, you need to understand that what Liberia needs right now is the one country, like I said, on this God's green earth that needs to adopt the doctrine. And the Reverend will know when I say doctrine. The doctrine of being patient, maximizing restraint, fending off any temptation to give rise to any semblance of violence in our already vulnerable society. As a young man who think I have a future in Liberia, that's all I'm asking. What's wrong with that?
Thank you, Bala.
What's wrong with that?
Thank you. We'll go to Letty Brooke Roberts. Do you have a question from our viewers?
Yes, I do. Good evening. I have a few questions or comments. Henry Doe writes, Garley, please try to balance your guests. 3 ANC partisans on your platform is not fair, or you just say it's ANC platform. We have Howard Metzger, and she writes, after displaying his limitations on other platforms, now he's over here. What a narcissist. Very egotistical. trying to fit in. Okay, I'll go to the next one.
Yeah, please go on to what she's trying to say.
We have Robertson Zua who says, I agree, Edith. We cannot sit and ask international community to come to our aid when we see this problem developing in our very eyes, as it has happened in the past. We must be far-sighted in these things. Luck Sharif, Liberia has lots of comics living in this country, sleeping good, enjoying freedom, but come here to talk jokes. We have our people dying from starvation and lack of good governance. Christopher Peel, this was the same Bala guy that took a bloody nose from George Lobo intellectual punches a few weeks ago. And we have Sela Ifwa. Says, thank you for your advice. We believe in Musu. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry, that's not a good comment. I'll go back to Howard Meska. She says, Mama, please come on. Okay. Come on here. If you can just arrive in Liberia and the lights went off at the airport and you all here using flashlights for security.
Thank you.
Yeah, not many questions, more comments.
Okay, thank you. We will go to James Cohen, but just before we do that, somebody wrote that 3 ANC members are on here. As a matter of fact, to my knowledge, I only see one ANC member here, who is Asiva Toba. Okay, Reverend Adi, to my knowledge, does not affiliate with any political party. Mrs. Edith Gonglo, to my knowledge, I don't know if she affiliates with any political party as well, but I know her to be a staunch Liberian politician, And James Cohen here is also a Liberian who has interests in our country and in Liberia. Mr. Bala here supports the government, he supports CDC, so we all know that. So your accusation that we had 3 ANC people here is false and misleading. Mr. Cohen, I want you to come.
One more, Mr.
So, wait, let's get something clear. I know Mr. Cohen is a co-host. Are you now with the CDC anymore?
Mr. Val, when you were with the CDC, I was with the CDC at the time. I still support. I still support President Weah. I am not.
It looks like we got plenty of seditions on the
Yeah,
platform tonight.
yeah. So I will leave you. Right now,
My question was,
as far as the issue is
are you
concerned,
with the CDC today?
as far as the issue is concerned, I'm here as a co-host, and I've been very
I
balanced in my
understand
views
that.
tonight. Thank
I
you.
understand that. I just want to know. I want the
No-
public to know your political affiliation. Are you
No-
with the CDC?
No
Yes or
further
no?
comments.
No, I think that's a fair
Right.
question, Mr. Cohen. I think that's a fair question. Are you with
Well,
the
I've just told Mr. Ava, when Mr. Ava said I'm chairman of the CDC, I was chairman of the audit committee of the CDC USA. Am I correct? That
I'm
has
talking
not
the
changed.
past.
I
I'm
relinquished
not
my
talking the
position.
past.
I relinquished my
I
position.
ask you. I know you are a co-host on this show today. I simply ask you, are you, because they're making accusations against the show and making accusations towards the ANC, which is not correct. Are you still associated with the
I've never
CDC?
changed my affiliation. I've never changed my affiliation.
Okay,
Mr. Ava.
so yes, the man's scared to say yes, but yes.
So I'm glad that you are a member of the CDC, Mr. James Cohen. We should say these things. You know, when I come on, I say I don't affiliate with any political party, and everybody knows that. So when you come in, don't be shy.
No, listen. Here, I'm here to discuss the elections, giving our viewers a balanced view of what the political situation is back in Liberia. So I'm not here as a spokesman for the CDC. So I don't want to be
No, I
discussing.
didn't say you are a spokesman.
Yeah.
Are you still associated with?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, he's there associated with
Yeah,
the
I
CDC.
am. But I'm not here as a spokesman for the CDC on this show.
Not yet now in
I
his
understand.
as a spokesperson for the CDC. That is understood. Thank
Right,
you.
he's a panel, he's a co-host.
Okay, he's the
All
acting.
right, I have one more comment, Mr. Garley, please.
His own show. Yeah, go ahead, Mrs. Rabbit.
Sam Willow writes, there has been 3 consecutive successful presidential elections in Liberia that have been free and fair. Why would this one be any different? He wants to know.
Okay, thank you. And with that,
I can help answer that.
I know.
I don't think the 2005 elections are considered free and fair.
Hold that thought, Mr. Tugba.
Okay, all right.
Well, folks, if you're just joining us, this is Ashford Garley Live. We come your way weekdays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for the program. And next Wednesday, I'll be looking forward to hearing from you all. We will have the year in review program next Wednesday. We'll be looking forward to seeing most of you. If you're interested in becoming one of the panelists, please let us know. So next Wednesday, 8 p.m., 2 hours of the year in review on this platform. I'd like to say a big thanks to some of you who have contributed. Mr. Bobby Wiles, thank you so much for your cash app donation. Mr. Jansen Dolo, this program is self-funded. We are trying to be in Liberia on 3 major radio stations in Liberia, and we have to pay for the airtime. So that's what we are asking. We can't do this by ourselves. We want to be in Liberia before these elections start. So we'll be looking forward to seeing some donation from you people so that we can help pay for the airtime in Liberia on the local radio stations there. We will go back in the room, around the room. But before then, I will bring in the co-host, Mr. James Goyen.
Thank you. So let me shift the discussion a little bit to the politics in Liberia. I want to ask all of you, this is a general question, about your view about the performance of the opposition with respect to these elections. Many have thought that they are poorly performing in terms of combating the publicity or what the government is doing right or wrong, and that they are not actually bringing in more votes to themselves, but instead their campaigns have been more giving the government more votes instead. What are your views?
Let us begin with Idatus Adi, because he was
Well, first of all, I have a problem with the premise of the question. The fact that the opposition are, being made poor in handling these political challenges will in no way, in my determination, mean that they're giving more votes to this government. I think the maximum restraint that my brother is talking about is precisely what the opposition has been doing in the interest of peace and stability. The Liberian people in the opposition have maximized restraint when you think about the $2 billion that has yet to be accounted for. from the investigation done with the Green Report and that of USAID and the presidential PIT. The Liberian people have exercised tremendous restraint when Sambatoa cannot account for the $25 million. The Liberian people have exercised maximum restraint when government has yet to finish the RRA highway when this for $111 million. So let's talk about restraint. Liberians aren't gullible as you like to believe, my brother, and nobody is fear mongering. Nobody is an anti-government here. We're speaking truth to power, and I really hope that members of the CDC, our fellow brothers and sisters, will understand that speaking truth to power is not antagonizing the government. The facts are very clear. We've maximized restraints. And all we are saying that when we are having elections and all of these inconsistencies are happening, that's caution. And that's all we're saying. We're not fear mongering. Thank you.
Mrs. Ware?
Yes, thank you so much, Reverend Datus. I think he said it so correctly. Nobody is fear mongering here. We're just speaking what the facts are, what the concerns of every well meaning Liberian is at this particular moment. Take, for instance, the issue of the procurement of the VRO equipment. The company had said they needed 145 days for that. Way back in September and October, the contract was not signed. It was just signed on Friday last week. The procurement process still remains the same. The time frame still remains the same. So if you calculate 145 days from December 20, I believe that was the 23rd, that this contract was signed, we are talking about maybe around April or May before we can get this equipment. Given the population and the challenges of the capacity of our people, it would take some time for training and usage of the equipment. When will they be adjusted to the usage of this biometric equipment before they really even start to do the voters registration? I'm just bringing this out because I believe the process leading to our presidential and general election is very crucial, and this government is taking it lightly. We don't want a situation where people are disenfranchised because there was no way for them to be registered. And we see that coming to bear here with the procurement being so delayed. Having said that, I like to also, uh, kind of disagree with the premise laid and the question that the co-host asked about opposition giving, easy ride, just to reframe, giving easy ride to the government. Our people, the people of Liberia are tired. They're weary. These people have been pushed against the wall. And I am scared because if you go to Liberia, the anger in the country is palpable. The disillusionment in the country is palpable. You see people walking in the street and they are clearly angry, disillusioned, and disappointed, and just devastated. We cannot add more insult to this injury already that the people of Liberia are suffering. So I think what this government needs to do is to rise to the occasion and do the things for which they were elected. They were elected for the security of the state. They were elected for the happiness of the Liberian people. They were elected to govern. You're sorry, my dog is crazy around here. He can't see anything, he starts to bark. I'm so sorry for that. Yeah. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. And so it's not about opposition not doing what they ought to do. It's about this government not doing what they're supposed to do. And the people have been, they've challenged the government. How many times opposition has not had rally, has not had press conferences? What else do you want the opposition to do before you realize they are acting? What else? There are several. And we can only use the constitutional means to hold our government accountable. And if the government does not hear and does not listen, it is left with the citizens of the Republic of Liberia to compel this government to listen to them.
Thank you.
Mrs. Ware.
Thank you, Mrs.
Okay,
Mrs.
thank
Ware.
Bala, you want to come in?
Oh, most definitely. I thought you were going to give my brother Randy Dapper. But anyway, so let me just say this. First of all, let me clarify. My brother Ashford Garley rightly identified me in the beginning, but then he later on said I'm a sedition. I'm not a sedition. I am an empathizer, if you would put it, of President Weah. Okay, I very much I am I'm okay with President Weah compared to the options that we have on there. But let me just say this. Once again, okay, the Reverend tried to address what I said, and I know brother Kanye has a question out there, but quickly, look, maximizing restraint, folks, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what we want to be telling our young people, our young generation, this young, energetic generation. Teach them that doctrine is very essential for this day and time. Now, as far as what the opposition, look, what I would say is the opposition's performance, in my opinion, and look, I'm an independent. I would like to see what the opposition party in Liberia has to offer. But in my own judgment, as an analytical being, someone who sits and wants to be, I want to accuse myself on a perpetual basis of being someone who analyzes the situation for myself, not just follows the crowd. I want to see these opposition parties show me something of substance. All I've been seeing is a group of people who are disorganized. It's been dismal, for lack of a better description. You're disorganized. You're not together. You are more of a reactionary group of people rather than being proactive. We need people who are proactive. You're not proactive. We need an opposition party that presents a stark contrast to the status quo. You're not doing that. You are far from doing that. Look, allow a guy like myself. Don't see me as an enemy. Okay, I'm a Liberian. I love Liberia just like you. I'm young, I'm energetic, I'm very charismatic, and I love my country. But I want to see a contrast. What are you presenting? One day you're doing this, and next day you are reacting to things. When the right thing happening, you reacted. You have to be proactionary as an opposition party. Present to the people a stark contrast. Let the people see something different from what you're accusing. You can't be accusing me of something you say you want to replace me, but you're worse than what I am, in my opinion. So far, to answer your question, brother, this opposition party has to a large extent been dismal in its performance in every way, shape, or form. I want to see something different. Folks, I want to see a better Liberia. Liberia transcends President George Weah. Liberia transcends you, Brother Isaac, or my wonderful sister, or Edith. Liberia transcends all of us. Liberia is for the future of Liberia hangs in the balance. If you call yourself an opposition party, you have something of some kind of distinction to bring compared to the status quo. Show it to the people. Stop being the same thing that you're trying to tell me to go against. You guys have been dismal, so that's my problem.
Thank you,
problem.
I know.
Let me also join you in welcoming Randy to the show. Randy, you're welcome. You are muted. Okay.
Yes, guys. Good evening to everyone, and my apologies for coming on very late because I got the heads up since the last time we were here. So my sincere apologies to every one of you guys, and thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay, I know Walter White is, he wants to bust right now, so I will allow him to come in. Come in, Walter.
Look, Ashford, I can't say much. You see, unfortunately for this young man, your audience is not ignorant. Your audience understand politics. They understand that he doesn't bring any substance to the table. They have seen him exposed before. So it's not an issue. I think we need to go onto things with more depth. Because what he's talking about here about restraint is established across the country. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants violence. The government has the might. They can crush anybody. They got the guns. They can shoot anybody. No Liberian wants any of that. That's why people are saying we need to prevent these things. So when somebody cautions that this could lead to this, she demonstrated it with the information she provided. How elections not being fair, transparent, and peaceful can lead to other things. So we don't have to dwell on that. I mean, that's just something factual. In terms of the opposition, if I may, let me share last year's elections, I mean 2017, so people can see if there were only one opposition political party. What we have Coalition for Democratic Change, Unity Party, Liberty Party, Movement for Democracy and Reconstruction, Alternative National Congress, All Liberian Party, Movement for Economic Empowerment, Liberal Restoration Party, Liberal People's Party, Independent Candidate, United People Party, Movement for Progressive Change, Democratic Justice Party, an Independent Candidate, Liberal Transformation Party, Redemption Democratic Congress, New Liberal Party, Vision for Liberal Transformation, Independent Candidate, and Change for Democratic Action. That's 20 different political parties participated in the process. So why is it today in 2023, all opposition parties should be one and should act as one? That makes no sense. Okay, each party have their agenda. Should there be collaboration? Yes. Should there be cooperation among the parties? Yes. But there is nothing in the doctrine of policy or politics that dictates all these political parties should act like one homogeneous. That means nobody thinking different. So we embrace the diversity. Why the Bacchus Matthew, all the other like progressive people really fight for multi-party democracy, not for one opposition and one ruling party. No, because people have different train of thought. People believe in different philosophy when it comes to politics. Why I would love for everybody to agree with where Mr. Cummings' positions are, it's just not natural like that. No. So they are entitled to the diversity to be able to pursue their own paths. We have love for everybody in the whole country who not pro-CDC to have come to the retire rally. Yes. But there are different reasons why people don't participate in stuff like that. So we got to embrace the diversity, and that label that people are trying to put on opposition parties is wrong. Are you telling me or Joseph Burger should not have ambition, or Alexander Cummings should not have ambition, and Gonglo should not have ambition? Bless his soul, may his soul rest in peace. Donald Cassell should not have had ambition. No, these people should have ambition. They are entitled. They are Liberians. They are citizens, and they feel they can be better leaders than what we have today. So they should compete and be in the process. So let's not try to label opposition as one homogeneous group. No, they're not. They are a different group, but hopefully they will take that stand that most Liberians are holding today, that George Weah has failed as a president. George Weah is beloved. He held the stuff down when we were going through war. He flew the Liberian flag, but he can now lead our country in the direction that we want, where we can have peace in terms of not just the absence of war, but economic peace, where we can start to own our economy and really participate. Where our young people can have aspiration and dream and see people who can be role models and help them move forward. That's the kind of country we're simply asking for, and we hope the opposition understand that and unify, whether in the first round or the second round, to be able to defeat Mr. Weah.
Thank you. We are almost getting to the end of the show, and I want to ask one question before Ashford Garley comes in. It's a general question for all of you. What are the chances of the opposition parties on October 10th, 2023? What are your chances, if any? Is it that your messaging is going across? Do you see any real chances for the opposition?
I think it would be fair to begin with Mr. Dapo, and then we can work our way around the room.
Thank you.
First of all, again, thanks to everyone. I think it should be a total embarrassment for those who supporting the opposition on here, because since I've been sitting here, they have identified all the attack against the administration. But what I've never heard here is what is the option they have to replace George Weah. Answer no, it's in here. I mean, they did the same thing in 2017. Vatopa was doing the campaign with George Weah, and we defeated the opposition. And he's coming right in that same format without even understanding that he is doing more harm to Mr. Cummings than making Mr. Cummings follower to understand what are the reasons why he took along with other defeated Mr. Cummings. You asked about what are the strategy. Mr. Tupa just told you that there's no homogeneous reason for everybody to be united, but Mr. Cummings himself lacked the awareness, the self-awareness to understand that what Mr. Tupa just said contradicts himself. Comey has been very contradictory in everything he said. And I can see Mr. Tukwa right now playing along with Mr. Comey's contradiction. But when he was in CDC, he didn't play all of that. Why? Mr. Comey, in fact, participated in the CPP. He was not forced to get in there. He believed in a sense of reasoning that they need to combine to have victory. But now he come here and saying, oh, we are not a homogeneous group to be in the same place. So there is no agenda here for the ANC. There is no agenda here for Joseph Boyka. If you listen to all of them, what they said, Mr. Comey tapped the pyramid of being very contradictory in everything he said. For example, we cannot keep doing the same thing over and over. Yeah, is he coming, bringing people who hurt the Liberian people? How can anyone sitting on the platform here go and stand before anyone and say, oh, I'm on teams, how they call it, Louis Brown, I'm on teams Daniel Chia. The man was rejected twice in his own county. And Comey understand those things, but he doesn't really apply those things to what he stands for. All right.
So the question was, does the opposition have any chance in 2023?
They got no chance.
They made so mixed.
Hold on. The question I'm answering is not directly to the question that the man answered. I said, when I started, I have sat here and listened to everything you guys have said. So you should have the comprehension and the understanding that I'm trying to at least start from where I came on the show, because it would be disingenuous to those who listen to me. So now that I ended, he's very unique and very a refined journalist to say, you know what, let's go to your question now. So let me answer the question. Again, the opposition, first of all, has no agenda. Their political party are not defined what they really want for the Liberian people. So as far as chances go, look at Mr. Comey's record. It's worse than anything. It's a disaster. It's a failure. Vatoba when he's sitting here because he has nowhere to go. He has cornered himself.
Comey is not the only
I'm coming. I'm doing things linearly. You know, there's a big picture and the linear approach. As a political engineer, we do things linearly. So if you want me to take a wildcard approach, I will do that. When it comes to Joseph Boyka, this man doesn't even understand that the arrest he's talking about is nothing but a slogan. He was asked on BBC, has he defined his own vision? He couldn't answer that question. Why he explained, his follower, his chief mediator, and his chief spokesman, Mr. Costa, said he's going to do more of Ellie, more corruption. What are the Liberian people going to buy from these people? Tiago Gongo, on the other hand, is just another guy who's trying to make himself popular, but he's not going anywhere. Overall, the opposition themselves, look at themselves out there. They having protests, other people not even joining them. So where is the unity to defeat President Weah? The government itself is more united than the opposition themselves. It just proves to you that the opposition got no agenda. They agreed, and the agreement will make them again to be another reason that there should be no opposition in the country that are not ready to help the Liberian people, but bring an opposition that will discuss the issue to give the Liberian people a reason to elect their leader after Mr. Weah. But for now, my brother, there's absolutely nothing to offer from the opposition to give the people the reason to vote for them.
Thank you. We'll go around the table. We'll take Reverend Ade. Do they have a chance?
Thank you very much. It's very important that we follow this conversation in the context of the questions that were asked us. We're not asked to share the platforms that our people have. And seditions are often known for bloviating. They leave the issue and talk something else that's absolutely got nothing to do with the question.
I'm not a sedition. Yes, please. Yes. Okay, you already be honest with yourself. That's why I don't go to Labyrinth.
Thank you. Thank you for the correction. You were asked a pointed question and you have yet to answer it. The question was asked, do opposition have a good chance at victory? I think yes. They do have a good chance. And the reason why I think yes is because our beloved President George Weah, a great sportsman, didn't have a record at the time when Liberians voted for him. But now that they have a record in the context of political leadership, then Liberians have a decision to make as to whether or not they will be willing to settle for the next 6 years of his policies or not. So yes, I think they do have a great chance. As far as platforms, I've seen Joseph Boyka's platform. He's looking to bring about agriculture, road, education, which this government lacks investment in. Um, he wants to bring in different aspects that will improve the lives of the Liberian people, sanitation and tourism. What is your president's record on education in Liberia? It has one of the lowest budget. I think it was $800,000. So when we're talking about opposition and potential for victory, I think if those records can be explored in the minds and hearts of the Liberian people by the opposition, they'll definitely have a chance at victory. Thank you.
Mrs. Ware?
Yes, I do think that the opposition has a chance, more than 60% chance to win this coming election. And the reasons are simple. Elections are like reading the report card of the government in power. It is the government's performance that people are going to be voting against or voting for. And in this case, giving all of the failures of this government, where it has failed to act. Yes, seditions will come and say, oh, the man has built more roads than any president, bar road medicine. But common example is the entry point to our country, the RRA road. This is the face of Liberia. Since they started, it has become a death trap. We can go on and on and on and on. The insecurity. We've never, under any government, had such level of insecurity in Liberia like it's happening today, where the president, who was elected to guarantee the safety of his citizens, of the citizens of Liberia, tells his citizens everybody should get the CCTV camera for their own security. What government does that? Every day people are getting missing. The 3 missing boys, nothing came out of it. Women are getting raped and killed. These days, people have imposed curfew on themselves. Nobody stays out of their home after 7. They're running. You don't have to tell them. They're running home because staying out itself is a death threat imposed on yourself if you just stay out there after 7 or 8. Just yesterday, I got a call from my stepmother. In 2 days in a row, they've killed people in their community, and she was terrified. She said the other one happened just next to her house. The girl comes there every night to charge her phone. They raped her, killed her, and extracted parts. And there's nothing happening. So much we can go on and on and on and on.
Thank you.
This government has failed miserably. For me, the key area of failure is the issue of security. When there's so much insecurity in the country, people can't thrive. You can't be productive when you're scared and you worry about whether if you go this place you will be safe or not. So yes, the opposition in my mind does have a chance. And to speak about opposition unity, where in the world you see opposition coming together and acting as one?
Thank you.
We fought for multi-party democracy, and we have it today. Multi-party meaning many parties.
Thank you, Madam
Yeah,
White.
multi-party, and it happened in the Gambia, and the Gambian president today won us. Ava, let me bring the question to you. In its current form,
Thank
do you have a chance?
Okay, just before Ava comes in, I'd like to recognize folks who have contributed towards the platform. Mrs. Ruby added, thank you so much for your contribution. Mr. Bobby Wiles, Mr. Jansen Dolo, Ms. Wilhelmina Clark, thank you so much for your contribution. We are trying to reach the local radio stations in Liberia, and with your contribution, I think we can make it happen. The cash app is 267-248-5295. And again, I want to say a big thank you to those who have contributed. Go ahead, Mr. Avatopa.
So, between Reverend Adi and Mrs. Gonglo, where I think they share enough for us to know that the opposition has a chance. But I just want to point out to the people again that Randy fabricates. Here's Mr. Cummings' website with his clear vision. And I'm sure this if Liberian people read it or they listen to it, to transform Liberia into a 21st century country by investing in critical infrastructure, like she said, roads, telecom, sanitation. This government is very poor on that. That creates jobs and revitalizes economic growth. That's what we talk about, economic growth. How you do that? Increasing investment in agriculture will result in food security. We saw the rice problem. We don't have food security. This government talked about it because we have to write the 2011 Agenda for Prosperity. That was the basis for this PAPD. But all the priority sectors we identified for investment, especially agriculture and tourism, zero. So Mr. Cummings want to focus on priority investment in human capital to enhance skills, reduce illiteracy, improve the health of our people, and reduce poverty. You can't beat that. Concurrently, ensuring that all Liberians, the thing that President, we are promised that will not be spectators, but he failed on. Liberians will benefit from the wealth of our nation by expanding value addition on natural resources and ending the culture of impunity and the evils of corruption. So for him to come on this show and say Mr. Cummings does not have a vision, when he, myself, and Mr. Cummings were on a call and he shared how Mr. Cummings' vision led him to support him, Randy, you're a fraud, man, my brother. I'm picking you up, or you're a fraud. For the Liberian people, come to this website, alexanderbcummings.com, and check out this website. See Mr. Cummings' agenda in each of these different capsules here. Combating corruption, he's very clear on it. If you want to learn more, you click on learn more.
Thank you, Ava.
You will see what he has to say about governance and corruption. So, my brother, yes, the opposition has a significant chance and opportunity to win these. No, I'm about to leave because I got to meet another meeting I'll go to. So I just want to tell you, thank you for the opportunity for tonight. It's been wonderful. I already appreciate us engaging, in this kind of format and you controlling it. So thank you. You're good night. You have a wonderful night. But yes, Mr. Cummings has a very strong vision that resonates with the Liberian people.
Thank you. So we give our brother Randy 30 seconds because we are far above our time.
Randy, I didn't participate in that round.
I think the gentleman.
I want you to rebut to what.
Yeah, he said 30 seconds. So 30 seconds. Then we're going to. I already started to let this guy in the first place. You see, what Vatupa failed to understand is there's something called assessment and evaluation. The entire common vision is from 2017. That's the vision that he put up in 2017, and he got flocked. When I went to ANC, I assessed that. But why he didn't tell the panel here today and the people out there is what did Randy find out? Mr. Cummings' vision is the same as the vision for 2017. And lastly, Mr. Garley, I see Vatupa showing and sharing his page of images here. Are we allowed? Because I got mine too.
Rennie, listen, Rennie, this platform is for Liberia and it's of Liberia. Again, fair chances to all of you. You can share whatever.
Garley, whatever you share should be factual though.
Be factual and
I want to got videos though. I want to got video. Yeah, don't authenticate to my video.
Okay. So but thank you. We are going to go to Bala, who will provide his view on this. Do they have a chance? You can also just blend that with your closing statement. Then we'll get back to the others who will have provided closing remarks.
Quickly, I would just say a very minute chance because it just in the world of possibilities, anything is possible. So a very minute chance to a very almost an insignificant chance. But I would just say this, and I wish the brother Vi didn't rush off so quick. But I would just say this: since he put up a website about the hopes and vision, so-called vision of Mr. Cummings, why don't I indulge the Liberian population to a website that's also called GeorgeWeareReelections.com? And I'm not asking Brother Garley to put it up, but if he does, even better. Go there and see the very accomplishments of this administration, things that have happened. I'm not talking about things that they're planning to do. Things that have actually happened under this administration, from the business of education, agriculture, infrastructural development, healthcare. Go there, Liberians, and indulge yourself. You see, what these folks on this platform don't understand tonight, and Vi, who ran off, is probably doesn't seem to understand is I am not here as a sedition. I'm someone who's actually seeking an answer. And I said earlier, I'm wishing that the opposition party can show me something other than a vast level of distortion, just being reactionary. You have no plans, so as a result, you only react to things. You have no tangible solutions for anything. We are looking for result. Now, what I want to say here to the people of Liberia is the reason why I support President Weah is because as I look at the other options out there, right? Mr. Va, in a very cunning way, try to explain his way around why comics lacks the ability to actually unite.
Bala,
Let's remember, folks.
Let me just call you to your point, Bala. My question is, in their current form, do they have a chance in 2023?
I think I said it earlier. I said a very minute chance because in a world of possibilities. I said it earlier. Did you hear that when I said it earlier? I said it earlier, but I wanted to throw that away so I can say what I wanted to say. So the CPP was once united, right, as a body. But they derailed right before the eyes of the people of now. Mr. Vi sat here and tried to in a very cunning way, try to explain his way around why this happened. And in every country there has to be opposition party and they don't have to unite. But what we're saying is you were once united, but because of your inability to stay together as a political party, you couldn't even do that. But you're asking the people of Liberia to give you the country when you couldn't even keep your party together due to whatever reason, maybe greed. I mean, some people say Cummings has greed, he has a little bit of greed tendencies towards him. We don't know that. I'm not going to accuse him of that, but people are saying that. And for the fact that people are saying that, there's a possibility that might be true. Why couldn't you hold the CPP together? Just answer that question for me. Since you are the geniuses, tell me why. You could not hold together because of greed. And you lack the basic ability to be a leader. So why should I trust you with the country? What are you going to do when you're president? When you don't like somebody, you would separate from them? So come on, guys, let's be serious.
It has been a fantastic discussion tonight. The views are just resounding. On behalf of the show host, Ashford Garley, on the Ashford Garley Live on Bridge Radio, we want to thank you for coming. We'll allow Mrs. Ware to give a parting comment. We are far above time. And then we'll get to Reverend Ali, and then we'll give a commercial from the show.
And just before that, I want to say thanks to my guest co-host in training, because next week he's going to begin his own show on this platform, and this is what we do. So he's getting a little bit of orientation, and he has done extremely well tonight.
Don't forget to announce.
And Reading Dapo also. Please mute your phone if you're not talking, please. Reading Dapo will also be having a show where it will be non-political. He will be talking about the environmental issues, comparing Liberia and other parts of the world. Something that we need on this platform to educate our people as it relates to the environmental issues in our country. Again, anyone out there that have program idea, you want to come on, this platform belongs to you. It belongs to the people of Liberia. Okay, you guys can continue. Is that Idatus coming?
No, Mrs. Ware.
Mrs. Ware. Okay, Mrs. Ware, please. Don't take all the time. I beg you.
So I'm not even going to talk. You see, Grace is not here tonight, so you're replacing Grace to caution me about time. Anyway, I just want to say this has been a very good discussion, and we should continue, especially on the issue of the elections. I think it's very, very concerning at this particular point. We're talking about less than, in my mind, 10 months. It's not even 10 months to the election, and we're still talking procurement business. We haven't even started voters registration. I think it's a very, very critical issue that we need to continue to flag. Having said that, it's a great show, Ashford, this platform. I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to always come here and exchange ideas in a very civil manner. I hope that we can continue so that we can enlighten and educate and inform those who may not have some of this critical information. Thank you so much, and thanks to all of the panelists for your share of the information that you brought forth tonight. To my son, because I'm old enough to born you, Bala, we are talking about the future of this country. It should exceed whatever love you have for an individual. Let's call spade a spade. You sit, I think you're in America here, and you've read about other countries. We have become an international shame and disgrace and laughing stock, and there is no joke about that. It's not about whether you love or hate somebody. We're just trying to be frank and honest with ourselves. And I think you should go and think again for the sake of Liberia. Thank you so much tonight.
Thank you, Reverend Ade.
Thank you very much. My friend and brother Bala said that if the coalition cannot hold together, we can't trust them with the country. May I remind him recently the NPP split? The NPP is split. Chihuahua has two chairmanship. So does that mean we can't trust the government with the next leadership? So when we're pointing fingers, we got to look back at the political facts. And the fact remains, if you're looking at the fact that the coalition is not holding together and therefore not trusting with power, we can make that same assertion by the fact that NPP is split and LPDP is also thinking about leaving. So these are facts. So I wouldn't base my conclusion on that. It is my prayer and hope that we'll have a peaceful elections. It is my hope and prayer that government will manage the electoral process that will maintain peace and stability and not stoke the flame of potential chaos by these ineptitudes we're finding in the electoral process. Thank you.
Thank you. Ashford, over to you before we provide our closing comments. You have anything to add?
Well, again, this program comes on every Wednesday. That's when we go political. Every Liberian is invited, whether you represent the CDC or the opposition, which includes the Unity Party, the ANC, uh, the Gonglukam, and other political enthusiasts. You're welcome to this platform on Wednesdays. And then on Fridays, that's when we do the political soccer game, where we have societal ills to take on the Liberian national team, the Lone Star. Then on Mondays, we do the Congo and Country Divide. We have several series coming up. And next Monday, I'm telling you, we'll have a face off with a guy that called in at the end of the show last week. Aliu will be coming on to debate the issue along with Grace, Vero, the Reverend Ida, and of course Jay Rennie. And that's it, folks. This is your platform. Again, I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Bobby Wiles, Mr. Jansen Dolo, and to Ruby Addy, and of course, William Clark for your contribution. We can do this by ourselves. And again, this is your show. You come here and you feel free to say whatever you want to say. We're not in the business of cutting you off. As long as you are not using profanity, you're making your point, whether you're from the CDC. I have nothing against CDC and President Weah. I have nothing against the opposition. We want to make sure that Liberia enjoys from its people. And of course, let the country be straightened out. We need free, fair, and transparent elections in our country. And we'll be looking forward to seeing most of you. Okay.
Thank you, Ashford. Coming up next Thursday is James Cohen live on Bridge Radio Africa.
Yeah, I get my closing. You're leaving me out.
We're not leaving. We're not leaving. We're going around the room for closing. We still have time. We still have time.
To you. I just want to announce the show that coming up for next week. Coming up next Thursday is James Cohen live on Bridge Radio Africa. In our first edition, we'll be featuring the man Ashford Garley. Many of you have seen him on live broadcasts on many radio stations in Liberia and here online with Bridge Radio Africa. You still don't know him. Who is Ashford Garley? What does he represent? How did Bridge Radio come about? What has it done to what has been its impact in society? I'll be featuring him on next Thursday in our maiden edition. The following week will be Society and Religion. It will be featuring a very profound clergyman who will be discussing the issue, society and religion, and some of the issues that affect us in our rural communities as far as the religion is concerned. Thank you very much. I know other shows are coming up. Randy Dapo is coming over show as well, but that will be announced later. Randy, your closing and parting comments?
Yeah, so again, let me say a big thank you to every one of you guys. The show is concluding, but the conversation will continue until after the election. I would say this year, the opposition stand no chance to win any election in our country. Whatever anyone listen to here today is nothing but a losing misinformation and disinformation. The president of Liberia has been criticized by me so many times, and now I'm seeing what some of my criticism is now producing. When he travels, he come back and deliver his information to the people of Liberia. I didn't see the people coming out here to verify, to say we check and verify these things. The president today dedicated a major hospital in the birthplace of Mr. Joseph Boyka, something that had never happened before. During the day of October, during the day of Samuel Kanyando, those institutions were not established. And by count, there are, I think, a total of 4 major hospitals. What are we doing? What is the opposition saying now? That are they going to pay more than what Mr. Weah is doing? No. They are just about attack. When you look at Cummings, like I said, he contradicted throughout. He survived in a structured environment like in the United States here. Even when you go to the supermarket or the grocery store, you buy a turkey sandwich, it will tell you how to microwave it by giving you the time it takes. That's the environment that Cummings came from. Now that he's out of the environment, he cannot do anything by himself out there. When you look at Boyka, on the other hand, he is so silent, completely bare right. Nothing he can do. The entire year, Boyka has done nothing for the people of Liberia. Where are you taking these people, my brother? Where are you guys taking these people? You know, what the mob can say, if the hand can defend it. Nobody now in the Boyka camp across their platform, you will find discussing the Boyka vision. If you are one Boyka supporter right now, the other will tell you that Boyka is the man. But when you ask sedition, they will start to list some of the landmark tangible that Mr. Weah is doing. That is something that I believe Liberians need to look at. What are the tangible that we are seeing today? And now what are the theory that people are putting out there? Mr. Cummings is a complete embarrassment to the people of Liberia. Everything he has said, he has contradicted himself. Why are you taking this man? You are in the CPP. Success came from the CPP.
Thank you, Randy.
Elected.
Thank you, Randy.
Elected.
Thank
and
you.
nothing came out of it. So what's the purpose?
Thank you,
There's
Randy.
no chance for you guys, man.
Thank
Maybe
you.
2029.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys.
Thank you, and good night, right, Randy? Yes.
Good. So Ashford is what to you.
Okay, the Reverend Idatus, add your closing statement, please.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Garley. I want to thank you, the panelists. It was a healthy conversation, and I would like for us to continue to have this conversation, being respectful and not engage in personal attacks. Let's continue to hold these discussions so that Liberians are able to make informed decisions concerning their future. I want to thank all of the, both of you, the co-hosts and the panelists, and the Liberians who are watching us. These are very crucial elections, and it's only imperative that you follow the information that have been put out there so that you can make those decisions that will benefit you in your future, and not just us, but the generation unborn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bala.
Oh, okay. I thought that was my closing, but yeah, just nothing much to say after that. Actually, thank you guys. Great platform. I want to say I'm glad you're back, man. For a while, you left us hanging, and you left this whole airwave just blank, man. So I'm glad you're back. To provide this kind of balance, kind of dialogue. Liberia needs it, and at the end of the day, regardless of what we all say here, it's all for the betterment of our country. So I see that Liberia has a great future, and ahead of her. So I'm very optimistic about the future. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you. And then I will go to my my special guest co-host who comes on next Thursday with his own platform and show to give us his closing. Then I will go to Letty Brooks Roberts as we conclude the show tonight. Mr. Cohen.
Thank you. So let me just let our viewers know that I'm here. I like to protect the integrity of this platform. Why it's true that I have a political lineage, I want to remain different when I come on this platform. I don't want to kind of pollute my political lineage with the integrity of the show. I will let our guests do that instead, so that I have a balanced analysis of their views and ask them the questions that matter. But thank you, Ashford. Don't leave me hanging next Thursday. I'm staying in training. You have to join me on the show. So you're gonna be on the show anyway, but for the next couple of shows, you gotta be with me so that I get kind of adjusted to what the show looks like, and to take care of some of the tough issues that come about.
Okay. Thank you so much. All
Thank
right.
you, Laddie. Laddie Brooks Roberts. It's a pleasure meeting you out here.
Okay.
Same
Okay.
here. Thank
Mrs.
you.
Mrs. Roberts, as we go home tonight, tell us about your own reception of the show tonight.
Actually, I enjoy the show. It's good to see and hear different opinions, and especially diverse views from different parties, and of course some are independent. However, why this show is has no political lineage, for me, I don't either. However, I just want to point out that when you have an opposition or when you hire someone, right, and that person is not doing well for your business or your whatever it is that you hire them for, and you're in a deficit, you don't give them promotion, you don't give them bonuses, you don't give them a bonus, let alone bonuses. So for me, the country that I see and what I have heard from people coming out of our country, this incumbent has shown us what he has done or can do, and so we know what he can do and what he has done. When you cannot pay your employees where the people sit at the kitchen table to feed their families, you've lost. So, I think the opposition has a chance, and let's stop this negativity. Opposition is what it is. They're all vying for the position, so they're not going to be liking each other. But we do know we need one of them to lead our country, and that's what I have to say. So, yes, the opposition does have a chance. Please support the platform. Please continue to support the birthday boy until the end of this month. And thank you for your time. Thank you for all of your comments. Thank you for always coming to be a part of this show. Thank you, Mr. Garley. Back to you.
And folks, that's all the time I have to be with you tonight. God willing, we will be back Monday night. That's a Friday night with a fresh, brand new edition of the Political I'll Suck Again. Until then, as we go home tonight, Father God, we want to give you praise, we want to magnify your name. Blessed be your holy name forever. We give you adoration. We come with depth of gratitude. Merci pour votre contribution. Félicitations. Folks, again, some heard the name, some heard people talk about him. You've gotten the opportunity tonight. Some call him the doctor of love, the medicine of the microphone, the mastermind, the broadcast commissioner, Africa's media doobie-doo extraordinaire. A big thanks to those who contributed tonight. Bobby Wiles, Jansen Dolo, Auntie Ruby added, Willie Man O'Clock, merci beaucoup. Ashford the Giant, that now you know me, Garley. Good night.